Hello Year 1, here is some feedback about your investigations. So we're going to look at this one first and have a look at the Numicon as well to think about why these patterns might have happened. So I wrote down 10 questions altogether and sorted them into odd and even answers. So we can see here 2 and 3 was 5, 3 and 6 was 9, 1 and 10 was 11. And what we're going to do is see if there's any pattern about whether we're adding odd or even numbers to get to these answers. So here I've got an even and an odd number. An even and an odd number. For all of these, I've got an even and an odd number. 8's even, 9's odd, 1 is odd, 10 is even. For even answers, I can have a pair of even numbers, but here I've got 2 odd numbers. So I'm going to try and make a rule of what I've noticed here. So adding an odd and even number gives an odd answer. We could write that in a more straightforward way. Odd plus even equals odd. That's a bit like a rule. I'm going to put that for this one as well. We notice that even plus even made even. Odd plus odd also made even. Let's use a Numicon to think about why that happens. Get rid of these. So if we've got 2 even numbers, like with the doubles, then they're already in pairs, so there's nobody left over. It's an even number, there's no point of it sticking out. However, if we add an even and an odd number, then we end up, there's this pointy bit that's not got a pair from the other number, so we end up with an odd answer, which is why any odd and even will have an odd answer. However, if we add 2 odds together, they've both got one that's not got a partner, a circle without a partner, and they match up to give us an even answer. Let's have a look what happened when we had 3 numbers to add together. It's gone to a different page. So here, I'm going to make some rules and then have a little think why. So I'm going to have a look at the first one. It says odd plus even made odd. Let's see if there are any others that have a different pattern. So this has got 3 odds, this one. Odd plus odd plus odd made odd. Are there any that are different? This is 2 evens and an odd, 2 evens and an odd, 2 evens and an odd number. I feel like I want to test one more set of odd numbers. I've only got one example, just to check I haven't made a mistake. So 3 and 7 is 10, plus 5 is 15. So that also gives me an odd answer. And here we've got 2 odds plus an even. Odd plus odd equals even. And then for this one, that's also odd and odd is even. And even plus even plus even also made an even answer. Same for this one, same for this one. So again, we've got these patterns that keep coming up. We want to see if they're always true. So let's have a look with the Numicon again. So if I've got any 3 even numbers, they're always going to have a partner. If I've got 3 odd numbers, 2 of them match up to have a partner, but 1 of them doesn't. If I've got 2 odds, they go together to make a partner. And if we add an even, 2 odds have got a partner, and the even, they were already in partners. So we've got our patterns of odd, 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 even, 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 but there is one that we have missed. So we've got 1 even, so we need 2 even numbers and an odd. There's our 2 even numbers and 1 odd number. So we get an odd answer when we end up with one of the numbers having no partner, either because there are 2 evens or 3 odds and it just leaves somebody out. So that's explaining why. Let's make a prediction. So if I had 4 plus 5 plus 6, can you predict if that's going to have an even or an odd answer? There are 2 even numbers and 1 odd. You'd be right if you said an odd answer because 2 even numbers add together and they make an even number. And the 5 is odd, it's got no partner. We get an odd answer that's 15. And can you think about some numbers that would have an even answer? I'm going to choose 3 even numbers. 4 and 6 is 10 and the 8 is 18. So I predicted that I'd have an even answer and checked. And we explained the rules that we'd found by using the Numicon to prove what we'd thought. Let's have a look at the challenge investigation. Okay, so this was looking at next door numbers. We had 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, and we got this pattern of answers 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. I'm going to plot that on here. Oh, missed one. So you might notice a pattern here. It's going up. It missed the number 1 because we started on 1 plus 2 was 3. But we get our odd numbers. So I can predict if we kept going, we'd be able to make all of these numbers by adding up. And going and going and going. I won't do all of them as you get the idea. So I can predict we'd be able to make all of those numbers. Let's make another prediction. What number do you think would come next if we did 7 plus 8? Our next odd number would be 15. So without even writing the question, we can guess what it would be. One thing I notice, if I was to draw a line like this, we could see that we get the answer 5, 7. If we keep missing a line each time, we can see the answers there 3, 5, 7. So lots of patterns that you might be able to notice. So going down, we get our odd numbers. Let's look at 3, adding 3 numbers together. And we're going to plot this onto the 100 square as well. Oh, missed one. And I've predicted more numbers. So apart from the number 3, this is going up in 3s. So from 6, it's going 6, 9, 12. We don't need you to know your 3s, but you can spot this stripy pattern that we start to get. The numbers are getting 3 bigger each time. So when we added 2 consecutive numbers, next door numbers, the answer went up in 2s. When we added 3, it went up in 3s. So we could think, what's 3 bigger than 24 to predict what would happen next? It would be 27, 24, 25, 26, 27. So I could predict that 8 plus 9 plus 10 was 27. 10, if I take 1 from the 8 to give it to the 9, that's another 10, definitely makes 27. So we could predict, find the right one, that 48 is going to be a number that we can make by keeping following this pattern. But I can predict I won't make the number 43 because that won't happen if we keep adding 3s starting at our 6. And let's look at this one. Can you spot the pattern this time? 10, 14, 18. This is going up starting from 10, going up in 4s. So can you think what would be 4 bigger than 26 to make a prediction? So we'd get 30. We can predict what would happen next, and we're going up in 4s, 10, 14, 18, 22, 26, 30. So I can predict we can make any of the odd numbers Apart from 1, we could actually, though, if we wanted to, put 0 plus 1 there. They're still next door numbers. And we could make odd numbers going up in 3s, starting on 6, and even numbers going up in 4s. So all these different predictions. We could think, having to think why is a little bit trickier. I'm going to try and show you with the Numicon. Got lots out here. Let's get rid of some of these. So this is one way to think about it. When we do 1 add 2, for the next number, 2 add 3, we need to add 2 to it. This is why they're going up in 2s, because every time I'm adding 1 to the first number and 1 to the second one. So altogether I'm adding 2. So 4 and 5 is 9. 5 and 6 is 11. We can see that pattern going up and up and up. Let's have a little look about what happens with 3 numbers. That one. We get our starting number, which was 6, and each time it's getting 3 bigger. And the next time it will need to be 3 bigger again to make 3, 4 and 5. It is really hard to explain why things happen in maths, which is why we've put this together so you could have a look at the end. So there are 3 different little investigations, and the tricky skills are these questions. We'll look at for this one that I've put at the end. Describing your patterns, making predictions and explaining why. And they're skills that you need right the way through your maths learning, even as you get to the senior school. So I hope you enjoyed doing some investigating today.